Gallagher said so.
Good evening, everybody. We are back for the final installment of the prediction shows. We've got the co-main event to Pacheco versus Nelson Saturday in Las Vegas. Andy Cruz, the Olympic standout, the Cuban. He's facing Omar Salcido. Some people call him Gamez. I think he's known more as Omar Salcido. Can't say I know too much about him. He's got a decent record, 20-1 he is. Andy Cruz, of course, fairly new to the pro game, 4-0, 2 wins by knockout. Looked good on the Crawford Madrimov card last time out against Moran. Got a decent stoppage there. Sat down on his shots a little bit more. I'm hoping we're building towards a Keyshawn Davis fight, providing he gets through Brenchik. That's no easy feat on Valentine's Day when they fight. Any thoughts on the matchup first up, boys?
I mean, yeah, sorry, Liam. Cruz is, touted as one of, I've said this previously, but he's going down as the next big thing, a generational talent, and, one that we're all supposed to be fawning over. I've seen glimpses from him. I'm not going to say that I'm blown away by his skill set at present, but look, he's just starting out. So he's doing all the right things. He's getting the wins. I wouldn't want to see him in with Keyshawn Davis in the next 12 months. I think he'll get blasted out of there if he does. I just think he's not got the seasoning yet. He needs some tough fights at world level, I think. Keyshawn Davis is probably one of the best around at the minute. He's just on the verge of being able to mix it with the big boys. And I'm not saying Cruz can't and won't, but we shouldn't be talking about that yet. He needs to be fighting this type of opponent, fringe world level with a couple of losses. You can't be throwing him in the fire. I know he were a good amateur and that, but still, we've seen that not work before. I mean, for God's sake, Lomachenko lost his first pro fight against Salida, didn't he? Because they just assumed he'd walk through everybody. You've got to do it right. And I get all the fanfare and I get all the hype and the excitement, and he sells a lot of tickets, puts a lot of bums on seats. But if they do it right with this kid, who has the American market and the South American market, he could be a massive, massive pay-per-view superstar. And in 2 or 3 years, Keyshawn Davis against Andy Cruz will be 10 times bigger than what it would be if they throw him in now. And also, it could be very detrimental to the loser of that fight, which I believe at this stage would be Cruz. Sorry, I'll go back to the Salcido fight. I think that it will be a fairly easy night's work for him. I think he'll just go through the motions. Is it a 10-rounder?
Yeah. 10.
Yeah, I see him possibly getting a stoppage, 5-6 rounds. I think he'll go through the gears as the rounds go on, and I think he'll have too much for Salcido, and I see him getting a stoppage victory between rounds 5 and 7.
Yeah, look, first thing, just to cover off the Keyshawn fight, me and Jay, we've both expressed how high we are on Keyshawn, and we're both excited for 3 weeks' time. Putting Andy Cruz in with him now is 12, 18 months too early. And I'm also as big a fan of Andy Cruz as well. I love saying it slightly tongue-in-cheek, the Joe Joyce approach they've taken at the start of his career. He picked up an international title in his first fight, and he's staying in the 10 rounders. Obviously, Joe Joyce has fallen off a cliff face. I don't think that's going to happen in the same way with Andy Cruz, but you just never know, do you? I mean, to pick up an international title and be top 5 ranks after your pro debut, you've got to have a special kind of talent behind you. And that's what Andy Cruz is. I mean, what's the IBF international title worth? I mean, to you and me, it's probably the closest we might ever get to a world title, bar an IBO or a WBA regular. So we'd love it. But the reality is the belt means not
You're fucking mad. Us three together against one man couldn't win that. Fuck off, Liam.
He's positioning himself in a certain way, isn't he?
In a southern area, brother.
Eddie and Matchroom are doing the right thing with him. They want to build him in a certain
southern area. Oh, sorry, Liam.
Sorry, man.
Eddie and Matchroom are trying to build him in a certain way. Eddie said himself that a world title opportunity isn't on the cards for 2025 unless an opportunity falls on their lap. He wants to put him in with fringe world level contenders. So after Salcido, I predict there's going to be a step up with someone that's possibly a former world champion that's got the experience to take him rounds. There's no rush with him. Yes, okay, he's set a good lick as a professional, but if he was coming in having 4 6-rounders against 18 and 40 levels of opponents, we'd all be moaning like trains because of the type of pedigree he brings with him. So they're doing the right things. Eddie's making the right noises of saying we're not going to rush him this year unless we get offered a massive gift that's too good to turn down. By that, I'd interpret a vacant world title would probably be the way I'd interpret that. But Salcido doesn't pose a lot. I mean, he's coming off of a 3-fight win streak, so he's got confidence behind him, but limited record against limited opposition. The only thing that they'll probably try and sell this on is he wasn't stopped in his defeat. So can Andy Cruz stop him? That'll probably be the sell we see at the press conference today or tomorrow. But Andy Cruz sitting down.
He beat Chris Colbert. Sorry, mate, he beat Chris Colbert last time out, who was highly touted at one point, to be fair. Valenzuela knocked him out before Salcido did. So, look, it's at this stage of Cruz's career, he's probably a decent opponent, to be fair. He's never going to fight world beaters in his 5th fight. Lomachenko, kind of like you stated earlier, he was kind of a maverick for, that kind of thing. But yeah, look, I'm with you guys. My prediction actually is Cruz via a decision. I think it'll go the distance, but I think he could even 10-0 him, to be fair. I don't think it'll be close, but yeah, I think it's going the distance.
I think Andy Cruz can make this fight look how he makes this fight want to look. So if he wants to bank another 10 rounds and have them under his belt going into the bigger test, he'll go to 10 rounds. If he wants to, 5-0 with 3 stoppages, then he'll get a stoppage. And I think, you need to be a certain level of fighter to have that sway and have that sort of pull in the ring, don't you? But Andy Cruz has that potential. I'm favouring a stoppage, rounds 5 to 7. But again, if he decides he wants to get the rounds under, he'll 10-0 him.
Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, we're unanimous in the Cruz pick. Probably obvious in that. The 2 guys are going for a stoppage. I'm going to go for a points decision on this one. Co-main event to Pacheco and Nelson. Going to be a good card in Vegas. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and watching. We'll be there for the watch-alongs, of course, on Saturday and Friday for Nayo and Inoue, which is going to be great. That's less than 48 hours away now. Thanks, as always, to Jay and Liam, anybody who's watched, and we'll see you next time.